Good push coming out as well, so I think that DK is a much stronger start for Motivate.Trust, as it also has flex, because you can take that in the safe lane if you want it, you can take it to off lane if you want it to be there. It's not completely locked in for Gotcha Boys mid, although they did pick that in response to a Quap, so they might be eyeing it for mid. And Quap versus DK matchup is not necessarily favorable for DK, but it is static, as most lanes are for DK. So you will just farm. You can't really threaten with the Dragon Tail too much, but you can at least breathe fire, clear out the creep wave, regen up with your Dragon's Blood. Level 3, it's fine. Like, you're not going to be missing out on too much. So we'll see how Motivate.Trust tosses that around. Very flexible for both sides here, Mike.
Well, final bans to come out from both sides before we can see this these drafts continue. Motivate.Trust just focusing the offlane right now as they do go right into that Mirana pick. So you got the DK Mirana combo, the anime duo in the offlane is upon us here for Motivate. DK Mirana hasn't been so popular as of late, though. Yeah, it's still very strong though. Like you get the stun off into the arrow. It's still quite a lot of damage, a lot of harass to fly in from Motivate.Trust, and we've seen DK do great work against the Quap as well. Once you get that blink up, just blink, Dragon Tail into the arrow. Very easy combination here for Motivate to just run. That does beg the question though: is this Weaver just a guaranteed position 5 now, or potentially even a position 1?
Yeah, I think that shifts the Weaver out. Like, you will want them around the DK lane. You could still run DK mid and shift that out, but Mirana 4 takes priority over Weaver 4. And Weaver 1, the flexibility is there. Really depends on what Cuckoo takes on his offlane. So maybe Motivate.Trust pushes the envelope there, as they do have last pick overall. Well, let's see as T1 continue to draft. They get the Ogre Magi, they get the Luna out for Gabby. Much more farm-oriented hero, but can be played aggressively if you do go for Lucent Beams and early Eclipse, rather than the usual Aura Glaives build for farm. So we'll see what Gabby opts for, but I think seeing the lineup of Motivate.Trust, you might want to just stick back and farm. You don't really want to jump in all too early. You could clear out the creep wave when the DK does come in for the push, so it's not going to be too hard to defend your towers here with Luna, and you've already got some aggression out with a Quap and Bane, so it's not really necessary for the Luna to come in. We only really need to see if Cuckoo or Carl will play the Quap. Again, it depends entirely on what Motivate.Trust wants, because they have last pick overall, so T1 will have to adjust earlier and kind of lock in their lineup first. And considering what you're seeing in lanes, if it is a Weaver safe lane, Quap can handle that fine. You're going to need some sentries down, but you do have better wave clear on the Quap. Weaver can't just Shukuchi in. It's a bit of a danger with the Scream of Pain with the sentry down, so I think you're fine there, as Motivate.Trust will go into the Ember. So it does look like DK offlane with Mirana, Ember Spirit down mid, and you still have a great combination with a Mirana rotation. Like, you still have Chain's Arrow. You can be a lot more aggressive now for Motivate.Trust in fighting over the runes. Not as important for an Ember, you know, it's not as reliant on always getting topped up, especially once you hit level 6, you can just TP home. But it does help you get that momentum going for Motivate.Trust, which they did lack in a bit of that early game.
All right. Still, I mean, I guess it is a decent matchup here for Gacha in that mid lane against the Quap. If it is going to be the Quap mid, that's the thing, right? Because again, Cuckoo does enjoy the offlane Queen of Pain, so it's kind of hard to know the exact matchup. But I suppose, to be fair, you are going to find out first, because T1 is going to have that final, well, the first pick of the last pick, but the point is, you've locked in this Ember for the mid lane now, so if T1 did want to swap things around, they certainly could. It wouldn't really affect their draft too much at all.
Yeah, they've got a lot of leeway here. And then again, if you are considering maybe a Weaver safe, which doesn't seem like T1's considering as they ban out cores, a Quap can handle a Weaver. Like, even as a support, you can't play with your Shukuchi as much. Queen of Pain will punish you a lot harder with a couple of sentries down. So I think you kind of have really strong flex for T1. And they will go for the Spirit Breaker instead. So that should be our Cuckoo hero instead. Spirit Cow coming true for one of the last few times before the patch breaks out, Mike, because that hero is going to get hit as well, for sure. I don't know how, maybe, but it will get touched for sure. As the Drow again for Motivate.Trust. I mean, a Drow lane for up against Spirit Breaker is better for Drow, as it is hard for Spirit Breaker to just run up and bash. You do have the silence to break off the charge as well, so it's a lot easier for Toy, but considering how game 1 went, I think T1's still going to be ready. Like, they still have the blink in from the Quap, Spirit Breaker to charge. Once Shadow Blade is up, you're not always going to get the silence off on that Drow, and even with a BKB, you're not safe, because guess what? Spirit Breaker Ags goes through BKB, so who really cares about that?
Oh, absolutely. Everything goes through BKB with the Spirit Breaker, John. Just send them right through. And that's the thing as well. You talk about the silence on Toy. Thing is, once Cuckoo has a Shadow Blade, that probably is not going to be too much of an issue anymore for Cuckoo. He's just going to just charge right through in with the Invis. I do not like this Drow pick at all. I don't like it.
No.
I mean, look, he had the advantage in the last game around against the Tide. You'd have to argue, but nothing happened. I think it is still easier against the Spirit Breaker, to be fair. I think the Drow does do better against SB than it does against Tide, at least during the laning stage. But as soon as that Shadow Blade's up, you are such a sitting duck here for Cuckoo. I mean, they have to really dominate this lane to make the Drow pick look good to me, John. I gotta tell you that.
Oh yeah, I think you want Toy to have a better build-up. You want him to be able to farm a lot faster than he did in game 1. Because we saw Gabby really just overtake, along with Carl and Cuckoo, way early on. So we'll see if Motivate.Trust can buy that out. I think you and I are in agreement here, don't like that T1 came out with a much stronger draft. We'll have to see if Motivate.Trust ties it in. I mean, we're saying that, but they've got so much aggression with Mirana arrows and combinations there. So maybe they can start rolling a lot earlier here for Motivate.Trust.
Perhaps. We'll get into it though. Game number 2 between T1 and Motivate.Trust is upon us. Carl really likes that line, and I suppose it is kind of cute. It's from the anime, right? I can't remember.
It should be. I think it's what's her name? You know what? It might be spoilery from season 1, book 1. So, well, I forget though. What's her name? I don't even remember any of the names. I'm so bad. Jeez. Not like it was a year ago. Was it a year ago? It has been a year. Oh god.
It's not like you work in Dota anyway, John. Don't worry about it. Motivate.Trust.
Yeah, it's not like I watched season 2 as well.
Motivate. Charging for Cuckoo right now. Gabby even going to show up on the side. They're going to try onto Boom Boy, but nothing coming out of this yet. I mean, for Motivate.Trust, you're looking for the arrow to connect on somebody to really be able to set up for a kill attempt here, but now they group up. They might go for the 5v5. They're going to try. Whitemon is copying a bit of damage, but he's a tanky ogre, and Masaros, he's the one really in trouble in this DK. He's going to try to run, but they've got the charge out, and they'll get the first blood. Zephyr the one to take it, as Gacha is still chasing down Whitemon, but now he needs his own way out. As they've got the Ignite, and they might just have another kill on their hands very soon. But never mind, the charge will not be off cooldown quick enough here for Cuckoo. Still first blood to go the way of T1. Suppose on the bright side, at least Zephyr. Oh. Is that your drawing, John?
Yes.
I didn't even notice, John. Thank you for that. At least the wards are different styles, John. You know?
I wish my co-support would say that when I accidentally drop double sentries. That will be a nice juicy pickup when they do drop a sentry. That pays off your investment twice over. And Zephyr does have the sentry ready. Of course, he's going to be using it to counter the Weaver for now. But down the line, that's going to be a good gold pickup, as we will see that top lane, Zephyr and the Bane, along with Cuckoo on the Spirit Breaker. As you mentioned, is a bit tougher for Spirit Breaker to gap close. Boomboy should have a good time, but yes, be careful. That sentry's paying off already. Instant charge out to pin Boomboy. Forced to salve himself. That puts them in a bit of a perilous spot. No instant regen out for Toy. And as soon as Cuckoo hits level 2, possibly level 3, more aggressive charges can come true, and that's the worry here. Boomboy doing a good job of just chakooching around the waves, but this is a very even lane, very even back and forth once the levels are built up here.
They're trying to really just win out these lanes here, Motivate. I mean, that top lane, the aggression does certainly add up, and once you have that swarm up with the minus armor, Toy's not going to have too much of a damage issue this time, so certainly good news here for T1, or rather Motivate.Trust. This charge is going to be there from Cuckoo, but it's rather aggressive. Let's get a fair bit of harassment out, but needs to be a little bit wary of how far he does go. Meanwhile, mid lane, Carl and Gacha Boy going at it on the Quap Ember. Very even matchup thus far, though Carl has taken quite a bit of harassment here from Gacha. In fact, chains are out, but he is not going to die. He'll Fairy Fire up. He'll be able to survive another day, though. Top lane again, they were going at it for a second time. Cuckoo's still rushing forward with basically no HP. And we probably should quickly have a look at that last side lane, John, the bot lane. We do have Tigger on the Mirana, along with Whitemon on the Ogre. They'll be there with Massa and Gabby. But we'll go back to the top lane where the action has broken out again. Cuckoo, Boom Boy. Everyone gonna be fine. Talk to me about the bot lane though, John. Is there an inherent advantage for one side or the other in this off lane?
Nah, it's really passive. You could look for a Dragon Tail stun. You'll only really catch Whitemon, and killing off Ogre Magi is pretty tough, just very tanky. You could be aggressive on the side of T1 as we're seeing, but killing a DK is also a tall order with level 3 up. So, gonna be the more passive lane. Tigger just gonna be looking for the arrows into the large camp, but that has been blocked off by Whitemon. No sentry for Tigger. And that is gonna lead to slower gains for the Mirana. As it's hard to just see them killing the Ogre, and it's hard to see them jumping Gabby with just that slight range. So, passive lane, better to focus elsewhere, as they have still been trading up top. Cuckoo still doesn't have regen on hand, which is a bit risky, and you are seeing how well the Drow can work this lane in comparison to game 1. Cuckoo has to use charge to gap close, not as easy to commit as a Tide with Anchor Smash.
Certainly not. He's still fine at the farm though. You know, credit to Cuckoo. He might be burning through some regen here, but he's still getting the CS going. He does just go back to the fountain now, get that free reset, and just charge his way back up. Mid lane still a very close affair, but it does seem like Carl's just pulling ahead now on the quad. A 21-8 in comparison to the 15-1 of Gacha, so even with the Ember, it still is proving to be a bit of a struggle here for Gacha Boy, and Wakal is not really being forced out of this lane whatsoever. Zephyr will rotate, looking for that water rune, but is going to get chained up, and Gacha might have himself a free kill, but a nice TP away from Zephyr. Quick thinking. No way to cancel for Motivate.Trust, and they will not be able to get themselves a free Bane kill.
I'm surprised Motivate.Trust aren't playing with the threat of Mirana. Like, Tigger's still hanging on the bot lane, still trying to maybe look for that Dragon Tail into arrow, but again, it's just hard to gap close. If you made that rotation onto mid, maybe play with a Chain's Arrow instead, you could find Carl, you could help Gacha Boy bounce back, as he is lagging quite behind in EXP, and even the CS is not in his favor. So you'll have to watch for that on the Ember. We saw Gacha Boy off to a slower start in his lane as well on the Storm. Not as painful for Ember. You do have earlier item spikes to play with, but it's still not a good sign when Carl does manage to repeat his game 1 performance.
Certainly not. At least Gacha is still farming, at least, as Carl is going to have a bit of a disconnection, so we might have those internet issues happening again here for Carl, but hopefully they won't be too bad this time around. Top lane, I mean, it still seems like the Drow's having a decent time, so Toy still managing to do what he needs to do on this Drow Ranger, and well, you mentioned this a bit earlier on, but definitely a better time than against the Tide. I still just get very concerned, though. Again, once Cuckoo has that Shadow Blade up, it just feels like this Drow is going to be a sitting duck throughout this whole game. Like, maybe you could try using Toy as bait, but the T1, they'll probably be more than happy to fight, as we saw last game around, and we'll see how it all works out, as we do have the reconnect here from Carl. And we do have the goal ahead from both teams. So we'll get back into game number 2. But as I was saying, John, I mean, I still have my concerns here for Motivate.Trust.
Yeah, it's still easily run down. You still have decent ways of pinning down the Ember with the Bane down the line. And I think for Motivate, we've got to see that early aggression line up. Good nightmare onto Boom Boy.
Charge onto Toy as well. Boom Boy gonna get stunned up and should be dead here to Zephyr. Cuckoo, he'll take a bit of harassment on the way out, but he'll be happy with that. Toy just unable to help at the moment with 0 mana on the Drought. Couldn't even throw out a silence to try and help out Zephyr, or rather the Weaver there. So 2-0 here for the side of T1, 5.5 minutes in. Still a very quiet game thus far. You know, surprisingly, John, not really much action down at the bot lane. Well, we thought maybe Massa would be able to set up here with the Mirana and get some kills going, but they have yet to find one.
It's just down to walking up to Luna can be punished quite easily by the side of T1. Stunning up and killing off Whitemon doesn't gain you much. Arrow though, this is
not gonna land. I was 100% that was gonna hit Whitemon, but it does not. So Whitemon gonna be fine and actually gets away with the region on top of that. Is now Zephyr and Boomboy gonna go at it a little bit, but it's like Boomboy just wants to get his way out. Cuckoo doesn't have going for a bit of a charge onto Toy, but it doesn't really have the ability to take him out on his own yet. Even Zephyr still giving the salves over to Cuckoo, trying to make this lane as easy as possible for him. Do you feel like this should have gone more in the favor of Motivate? In fact, hold that thought, because it looks like Zephyr has been caught here and is probably going to drop. Boomboy does pick up the kill, and that was off the back of the rotation from Tigger. Meanwhile, bottom lane, there's a bit of a chase onto Massa now. Mind you, he is a very tanky boy, and Gacha Boy is also going to rotate over to try and help out. Gabby now the one in trouble as the chains are there, and Gabby has overextended. Gacha, a very nice rotation. As now they will chase down Whitemon, trying to find the second piece of the puzzle. They should eventually be able to secure this kill here on the Ogre. As Whitemon will try to abuse the fog a little bit, but the Dragon Tail is going to come out. Now even Zephyr showing up at the last moment, but it was too late this time for T1.
And that's the aggression we wanted to see from Motivate.Trust. Gacha Boy's pretty low on the mid. Carl does not have the level in Sonic Wave though. He opts to go for 2-1-4 at level 7, so no burst. Deal with the Ember would have been a good opportunity to kill off that Ember, but does shove him away from the wave. I think for Motivate.Trust, that lack of aggression just stemmed to Tigger standing in the bot lane for a bit too long. Again, they had no good target to burst down there, and they couldn't just get the distance onto the Luna. And if they went towards mid, you might have been able to enable Gacha Boy a little bit more. Our tag up top though.
Yeah, Boomboy just getting completely caught out here by Cuckoo. Off the start of a lucky bash, and Cuckoo just kept it going from there, so a very nice kill from our Spirit Breaker. And again, Toy on that drown just can't really help his supports at the moment. Just no way to help.
Just focusing on that build-up, and for Motivate.Trust, this is around the time we should be seeing more arrow plays, right? You're ready to go with your Ember, you've got the Remnants ready, you can get a good chains off. Chains into the stun is enough for the kill at this point. But we'll see when they do kick up that aggression, as the supports are grouping up mid. Boomboy and Tigger showing up for a moment, not really going to find anything. Maybe have more luck in picking off someone up top.
Yeah, and Zephyr has been slowed up here by Toy, but TPs are there from T1. Boomboy still just trying to scout out from the backside as Carl is having a look around, but is not going to be able to find him. Still Zephyr. Thought he saw him there for a second, but it looks like Motivate has brought even more numbers up. Zephyr now will see the Weaver, but doesn't really want to go in. In fact, never mind, chains are there. Gacha will hold down Zephyr and take him out. Nice sort of pick up from Motivate, but they have rotated quite a few heroes over to try and make that happen, so you would have liked a bit more than the Bane. Maybe you can find Carl though, who blinks right into Gacha, but a big Sonic Wave out. Tigger might just die out to the Shadow Strike, but never mind. It was on Gacha Boy instead, so they will get the Quap. Here comes Cuckoo though on the Spirit Breaker, but he can't get Tigger this time, surely. He won't. Could not get the Nether Strike off in time.
Isn't it magical, Papa?
Still, a great set of kills here for Motivate.Trust.
And they're finding that aggression, just out with the rotations from Tigger and shaping up. This is the aggression we were looking for from this lineup, and the side of Motivate.Trust can now start building off. You're ready to go with Gacha Boy just with a phase boots up. He does some good damage with Slight Fist. His magic damage is pretty set up. The side of T1, we'll need to wait a little bit more.
Another arrow set up here onto Zephyr. Nice little nightmare dodge from Zephyr. In fact, he's still going. He's bought enough time, so the charge will come through from Cuckoo into the Nether Strike on Gacha. He might be gone. He'll try to chain up, but there's no escape. Zephyr makes it happen just with that nightmare, and Boomboy will also go down. And that was really a great nightmare into a brain sap. Setting up here for Carl.
Magical, Papa.
Yeah, just stalled out long enough for the course to come in, get some punishment going. Big kill onto Gacha Boy. That's a momentum setter of Motivate.Trust. putting him down for a little bit longer. Gotcha Boy's had a bit of a rough time. Despite the activity, he's still bottom network across all the cores, behind even Cuckoo's Spirit Breaker. He really needs those kills to line up, to really build up, to get the space going there for the Drow. Toy does have free reign in the jungle right now. That is some bit of good news for Motivate.Trust, but the side of T1 are ready to play. They're smoked up with Carl. They see this push down bot. They could look to punish.
Motivate.Trust. Moving in. Nightmare there will be set up onto the Weaver. They've got a Fiend's Grip available here on Zephyr, but they want Gacha with that. He'll remnant away in time, however. So they will just get away with the Weaver kill, but that's going to be about it for now. Being said, Motivate.Trust, they can't really take advantage of the Dragon form on Massa. So that tier 1 bottom tower not going to drop. Keep in mind, however, John, I mean, with all this space that they're buying, Toy is getting a lot of farm on this Drow Ranger this game, and that could prove to make it a very different game here for Motivate.Trust.
Yeah, I mean, he's been farming really well. I think the issue is, when you're farming against a Luna, you don't win out. And Toy?
Gotta get... Oh, boy. Yeah.
What?
It was just a mess. Just a messy engagement as Zephyr wanted to go through this tree line, John. I believe the tree grew back as he was running through it or something because he got stuck. So he couldn't get close enough to get the Fiend's Grip. And then the Nether Strike ended up sending him in a different direction. I'm not sure what happened there for T1.
That would have been a really nice kill on the hero we were just talking about, but the Caster's Curse is dodged by Toy, so he gets the farm over there. Down bot, though.
Yeah, can't say the same for Masseros. Getting charged up. He's got Boom Boy nearby, but Boom Boy cannot help on this Weaver. All he can do is watch, as Carl will take another kill on the Quap. His 4th of the game now on this Queen of Pain, and Motivate, they are still just trying to get down this bottom tier 1. Looks like Whitemon will do the job for them, though.
Yep. Get the deny. Switch lanes for Gabby. Play in the triangle. Not many stacks built up at all. None built up at all. But this is the point where the Luna can really just out-farm a Drow. Sure, Drow can clear out camps with a multi-shot quite nicely. Does have some good damage output. A Luna's a Luna. Even without something like the Mask of Madness, you can still clear through a ton of creeps much faster with the Lunar Blessing and the Glaives. And that's something Motivate.Trust has to put a stop to. They can get some rotations out. They do have... they still have the Mirana DK Ember. No, they have the blink up on Masa. This is a good time to smoke, and they will go on the hunt.
In the mid lane, they might find the Quap again. Carl, it'd be a great target to go after and Motivate. They have him in their sights. They're just going to be able to lock him down long enough to take him out. Never mind that, they'll go up top perhaps. So occupying the triangle is Motivate. Carl has not made his way over to that triangle, however, so they'll have to go north instead, where T1 are showing onto that top tier 1 tower, but now they'll get the memo that there is perhaps a gank happening right now on T1. Well, they may leave Whitemon behind. In fact, never mind that. Whitemon, he's out scot-free. In fact, bot lane is where all the action's happening. Gotcha Boy, he'll be the one caught and he's gone. The triangle though, Massa does at least find Whitemon, but it's just an ogre. Not too big of a deal as Toy. Now being charged down by Cuckoo, but is going to be able to get the silence off. We'll be able to just keep going on toward that tier 1 mid tower.
Still have a better trade for T1, a core for support. You don't feel too bad about it. Good scan come true. They pin down Toy, but we'll be able to pass the Nightmare on. Not going to be able to fully commit for the push. They have dropped the tower quite low, though. That's where Motivate.Trust can shine. The push potential with the DK and Drow is pretty darn high.
Massa, move in. Gacha is there as well. They're just trying to burst down Zephyr, but now the Eclipse comes right through, and Masseros is going to melt. Gacha, he'll remnant towards the right side, but he's out of remnants. He needs a few seconds to have them back up. Do they have the damage, though, in time? Not quite. Gacha, he'll get that remnant he needed, and he'll be able to escape. It's still a favorable team fight, however, for T1. Like, maybe you call it a win for Motivate because they were forced to deny off that mid-tier 1 tower, but I don't think that's that bad for T1. Seems like Motivate, we'll see if they can make use of this mid-tier 1 dropping.
I mean, it gives them more space to find a good angle to get the arrows in, to get a good blink angle in for their DK. I think that's the most important thing for Motivate.Trust. We have to see them play aggressive off that tier 1 take over the bot jungle. There is some vision out from T1 to watch the area though. So that is easier said than done. But a smoke should be able to make short work of that. We'll see if they will commit. As Gotcha Boy is still farming pretty far forward. Cuckoo is around the area. They don't see each other yet. We'll see each other soon. Charge is ready.
That it is. It's not going to connect. Gotcha will be fine. I mean, Motivate.Trust still just happy to keep the farm game going. And Gabby doing the exact same thing on towards his Manta style. Should have that rather soon. And there's that top tier 1 to drop. The bottom side, Cuckoo. Gonna be spotted out by Zephyr, or rather Boom Boy, but again, there's no way for Boom Boy to lock down anyone on this Weaver. He is working on towards a Yule Scepter, but it's gonna be a while away here for the Weaver. However, mid lane, Cuckoo does show on the creep wave, but he is underneath the tier 2 tower, and that may make him a bit too risky to go after, I think. So Motivate, they are not going to try and pursue this SP kill either. It seems like Motivate.Trust are just kind of left running around the map trying to find somebody to target.
And if they're playing this sort of game, T1's going to win the farm war. We see Gabby just pulling ahead in that net worth lead, just down to the nature of Luna as a hero. Has a lot better camp clearing potential than a Drow. It will go for the Moonlight Shadow play. This might be able to let them find that angle, maybe pierce through, but it looks like they might only find Zephyr.
That they may. Zephyr gonna be spotted out. Chains into arrow, but another nice nightmare dodge here from Zephyr. And Joe, you find the Bane kill, but it's like you mentioned, John. It's just a support here. And Zephyr, he knows about it. I mean, he's more than happy to tank the gank, knowing that he does allow the rest of his team to get out safely. And this whole time, again, Gabby has still just been freely farming up that triangle, and that just... it spells doom for Motivate.Trust. Like, it's just terrible news.
Yeah, because you're not able to keep up in the Drow. You're falling behind on your Ember, because Gotcha Boy doesn't have much room to just play the jungle. He wants to be online now. He wants to be running around, getting the chain set up. They're just not able to. Oh boy!
Remember that time I talked about that Shadow Blade, John? Yeah, Toy, he's gonna experience it for the first time this game, and it's really that easy. You can't have sentry wards everywhere. Cuckoo eventually is gonna get you.
Oh yeah, it's just tough. Like you might be able to watch your marksmanship aura, but at that point, he's just about to charge you anyway. You know, he's close enough to get the hit, and your timing on the gust has to be near pixel perfect at around the time your aura fades, so it's pretty tough to counterplay against that. T1 now invading that triangle. They find some stacks. Motivate.Trust have to fight this.
They do, and they'll try. Gabby, though, going to turn back in onto the Weaver. Meanwhile, Charge, who's it on? They're going after the Ember Gotcha. He's been caught. Carl's got the Sonic Wave into 3 heroes. It'll be a trade between Gotcha and Whitemon, and now a Fiend's Grip even catching up the Mirana. It's another messy fight for Motivate, as T1 are looking to completely clean up. Do they keep going? I mean, Gabby does find Boom Boy across the map. That might be it. They'll take the snacks away from Motivate.Trust now.
It's tough for Motivate. Like, they have such great single target control, but we just haven't seen the good Blink Dragon Tail arrow combinations come out. They just haven't been able to pull it off. It's such a risky proposition. You don't know where the Spirit Breaker is coming in from with a Shadow Blade up. The Quap can just jump around, so she's hard to catch out. You've got to be able to line up this gank. Like, they have so much pick-off potential, but it's just not coming through for Motivate.Trust.
What can they do, John? I mean, at what stage do you think they can actually start the fight back? Like, is there an item timing we're waiting for here?
Not in particular. I think just the blink alone and Masa should be enough, and he had that pretty early. They've been trying every single time. They just don't see the angles, and you can just see how pressured they are. They're sticking together in their own triangle to find some farm. That's giving a lot of room out to T1, who still can threaten. There's still that mid-tier one they need to take care of, to be fair. And I think that's why Motivate.Trust are just prioritizing that area, ensuring that they don't lose map control, they don't lose their jungle outright. But it is cutting off Masa's farm, it's cutting off Gotcha Boy's farm when he has to show up mid. and that has to progress. Like, maybe this Lincoln's up on Masa will give him some... Gotcha will protect him, but he's in a spot of danger. We'll be fine. He'll just keep you away, being a nuisance, cutting off that farm. But you can see that, like, even if you're just farming side lane, it's just not safe for Motivate.Trust because of how T1's working the map right now.
Motivate certainly not able to find that opening that they're looking for. Meanwhile, Motivate, I mean, they'll just kind of keep trying to rotate and find something, but now there's going to be a 3-man smoke here from T1.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Charges there, Boom Boy. He's already been caught. They have the dust. No, they won't even need it. Scream and Sonic Wave is more than enough. And Carl, I think Carl's having a bit too much fun now. He's probably spent more APM using those voice lines than he has actually playing the game here, John.
Oh, another charge.
Mid lane. Yep, they've got Massa. Let me tell you, with the bulldoze shot, these stuns do not last very long on Cuckoo. And that'll be Masteros to drop. No trades to come out for Motivate.Trust as it looks like T1 are going to keep rushing onto Toy now, but the Manta is there. Still charge out. They've got Tigger. Cuckoo going all the way for this one. He wants the Mirana kill, and they're going to find it. Garcha going to come back in onto Gabby. Gabby is low HP, but not quite low enough to be really afraid for his life, and he's fine. He's just going to go out.
Double damage as well to come true for the bottle refill on Carl. And we'll pass it off onto Gabby. And that should mean a dead tier 1 mid for Motivate.Trust. I don't think you can overcome the damage on Gabby. He is BKB for protection anyway. You got to find a really perfect angle to pin him down with your Dragon Tail arrow, with your Searing Chains arrow. To find that kill, and they might just go Roche instead, yeah. Even with the tier 1 standing, it doesn't matter unless they get a good wrap here, Mike.
Oh, Toy, not Toy. Gets a great silence. They're still closing the gap. They've got the charge out. That'll be Toy gone. They will not be able to save him in time. And that should be maybe just Roshan. It doesn't feel like T1 even need that T1 mid tower to go for the Roshan at this point. The double damage rune active, and yeah, Gabby's going to go for it. They'll commit.
Yep. First rush of the game going the way of T1. Motivate.Trust. They know this is happening. They know they just got kicked off the jungle, but they're too far. And with the double damage pop, it's not going to be an easy fight. So, freebie coming out for T1. Motivate.Trust. I just realized. Gotcha Boy's still 13. Masa's still 13. Toy's 15. Yeah, T1, you're level 15 on Cuckoo, you're level 18 on Gabby. The EXP advantage on top of the gold is just painful. And for a hero like Ember, who relies on some of his talent spikes, who wants to max out remnants, it makes the game a lot tougher for Gotcha Boy. So they've got to find a pickoff. Just look for one hero. They've been trying, but T1, they just read the movements of Motivate.Trust so well.
Zephyr, nice nightmare. Tigger is there to try and help if the Fiend's Grip is going to fly out, which it almost certainly will. Arrow is there, but Sonic Wave mid-leap, so Tigger, he's on the run, but he's being chased down by a very angry bull as they do get the Yule Scepter off in time. That'll be another one for the books for T1. And I agree with you, John. I mean, they might just need one kill, especially onto Gabby with his level 18, but it's not coming. It's just not happening for Motivate.Trust. And speaking of the Devil John, Gabby, he's going to run right into Massa. Charges there. He's got the Eclipse up, and that's probably going to be Masteros' life forfeit. As he does run out of range of the Eclipse, but it won't matter. They've got plenty of vision here on Masteros with the charge out. That'll be another kill here for T1.
They're just piling on. They find Toy again.
They have found Toy. It is both supports, though. They can't really commit. The Garcha going to make a jump in, but this could be dangerous. The charge is out. Toy, he's not protected. He's going to try and Manta out of this, but there's no way. He just goes down in the drought, while Zephyr is still just running away from Garcha, and I think Garcha's gone too far. You've got to give credit to Zephyr, John. He has been a real problem this game on this Bane. Just how many times have we seen Motivate chasing down Zephyr and the man just still walks out without dying?
It's a tough one. He's been really slippery, and Tigger's not safe here either.
No, he's not, John. I don't think anyone from Motivate.Trust is safe right now. Not on this map.
Oh, no. certainly not. I mean, Zephyr has the blink as well, Mike, so range doesn't matter for him. He can just come up, get a good grip, get a good nightmare save, brain sap to save himself, and just dodge out. It's tough to pin down even the Bane. You can kill off Whitemon, but who cares about the Ogre at this point? You know, he's nothing, and Whitemon understands that. He's the whipping boy. You know, he's the target of Motivate.Trust. He's the body that's willing to die for the team. Boomboy trying to find some farm might not be the safest here.
Sentry ward down. Gabby gonna spot him up for a second. Going to his own Shadow Blade as they fight over the Invis, but it won't matter. Gabby has a superior Invis apparently and does get the kill.
Tower is under attack.
Onto the bottom tier 1 tower they go. But in the meantime, Massa in trouble again as the Fiend's Grip does catch him out, though Arrow is gonna delay this kill a little bit. For how long? Not quite long enough as they can go for more. Onto Tigger, they'll find a Mirana. I mean, it's just child's play right now, isn't it, John? I actually can't remember the last time Motivate got a kill.
It's been a while. And again, if they did find a kill, that was more than likely on Whitemon, who doesn't mind too much. Motivate.Trust. I mean, they came out with a really strong draft here. They had Dragon Tail Arrow, they had Chain's Arrow. They had a lot of ways of playing aggressive, but instead we see really slow lanes come out. We didn't see rotations towards mid early on. Boomboy did show up, but not Tigger. They need that Mirana. Now they're high ground. With a Luna, T1 just rips through these objectives.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how Cuckoo even got there, but he just went right behind Toy and just stalked it. And Gabby, he's had enough of this game. He's onto the T4 towers. Screw it. I mean, why even bother for the Raxes? Tips are coming out. Zephyr, apparently the MVP of this game here for the side of T1. I would agree with that. Carl is going to be caught in the quad, but it looks like they have gone a little bit too far. They do get punished, but now they have found out that Weaver. In they go. That'll be Boomboy gone, though. Massa going to go onto the Luna as Gabby is getting quite low, but still has that Aegis up and will lose his first life, but he does get that reset he's looking for. Still having the Eclipse available. They do land a nice arrow. Nightmare, though, is going to save as they do try and just back themselves out. Still Motivate. Are going to keep the chase going. Cuckoo. Like he might actually make it, John. Yeah, he's fine. Laugh comes out from Carl and he gets another. Oh, wait a minute. Does juke out the arrow. That would have made it very obvious. And there you go. T1 just laughs all around.
Yeah, they lose Carl. You know, it's pretty painful. High ground defense does pay off for Motivate.Trust, but there's still no risky spot. Zephyr still has grip if they manage to find a straggler, although he is surrounded here at the moment.
You think that stops Zephyr before, John? This guy's a madman. He's gonna die this time. But we've seen him being chased by a whole team before and still surviving, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again. Still, 17k net worth advantage, 28-14 in the favor of T1. I'm gonna ask you again, John, because it's getting a little bit rough now. What else can Motivate do in this game to try and push it back? Hold that thought, John. We have a charge on Toy, John. Hold that thought. They're going to know there's a charge going because he just hit a couple of people, but Toy is still going to get stunned up into the instant bash, and that'll be a Drow Ranger gone. I don't know what you do.
No either. I mean, we've been saying it. They just need a blink Dragon Tail Arrow. But it just doesn't feel like they're seeing any target. They're not finding any angle. T1's just been very good at holding themselves, good at positioning themselves, good at protecting their cores. And if you can't get the Dragon Tail Arrow, if you can't get the Chain's Arrow, it's just painful.
Give that Psychic Headband to Zephyr, Mr. Whitemon. That doesn't belong to you, sir.
Yeah, but the Zephyr has the Philosopher's
No,
Stone, you know, so
no, John.
he wants the gold.
No,
he wants the gold.
You always give it to the Bane. Boomboy. They'll find Boomboy. I mean, it's not like Zephyr needs it, John, to be fair, but it's the dream for Bane. You get the Psychic Headband with the Aether Lens.
Look.
Don't
It's
you
sending
know
a
me?
message. He's telling Whitemon. You're not going to get any gold here, buddy. Stay poor, friend. You get the range. I don't need it. I want gold. He's actually not. Are they swapping? Will they swap?
Well, it won't matter, John. They're onto the T4 towers. What does it matter anymore? Zephyr, he's in. Carl, gonna be fine as Gabby just focusing onto the Ancient. They do stun up the Bane. Maybe they can just blow him up. 4 staff away. Zephyr's still alive. Garcha still trying, but a big Sonic Wave out. Carl taking down Tigger, and Gacha, he's gone to boot. Buybacks are there from Motivate. In the meantime, Gabby is still hitting towers. He is ignoring the whole team fight and just hitting the Ancient, and it has worked out for T1 as they get away with the win. And that'll be a 2-0 victory here for T1, 2 days in a row, as Motivate.Trust could not best this Radiant side.
Oh, and T1's in such fine form. It looks like, again, after that loss to Lil Gun, that 0-2 loss, they're bouncing back. They're working together great as a team. Gabby's getting a lot comfier in his safe lane role. He's managing to play with the mix of aggression and farm that T1 needs in comparison to, say, Savage, who was much more focused on early farm. And for Motivate.Trust, again, they come out with a strong draft. They go back to the draw of Toy. It was a pretty tough time. Laning was a lot better. Just tough to hold out when that Shadow Blade came up, and they never managed to get the good Chains Arrow, Dragon Tail Arrow combo off. Like, even if they did, I guess they were scared of Zephyr with his Nightmare save, and we did see Zephyr get some really good Nightmare saves on himself a lot to get his allies on top. So we'll have to see if Motivate.Trust can kind of clean up, because that was a good draft. I think it was just the execution that fell flat. T1 just played as the better team here, Mike.
Alright, well, we're headed into a 15-minute break, John, and we are going to head into our last series of the night between OB Neon and Team Orca. That should be a fun one, as both teams have been playing rather well. So we'll see how that one pans out for our final series, as we'll head into the break and we'll be right back with OB Neon versus Orca.